I'm so delighted to be joined from South Africa by Sandra. Sandra is an ocean microbial ecologist and a PhD student at the University of Pretoria. Now, I've met Sandra twice in person, first in Galway, Ireland, and then secondly in Brussels earlier this year, because Sandra is also an All-Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassador. She's supported by the South African Department of Science and Innovation, and also the European Union's Horizon 2020 Coordination and Support Action Group. Sandra, you're very welcome to the Public Sector Marketing Show.
Thank you so much for having me, Joanne.
It's lovely to see you again, and I know that we catch up during COVID-19 and these are very different times, but please explain to people what you do. The reason that I've invited you on my YouTube show and my podcast is because I know from meeting you and from working with you directly that you are the type of scientist, an ocean scientist that the world needs, because you care about ocean literacy and you care about obviously climate change and the ocean's role in it. But let's explain what your niche subject of interest is.
Okay, so my niche as a microbial ecologist, it is what it is. Microbial, part of it, I'm looking at microorganisms in the ocean, bacteria, archaea, fungi, as well as viruses. So we use sequencing technology to survey our oceans. We go into the ocean on a vessel. That's the exciting part. So you go on the vessel, and a research vessel that is equipped with oceanographic apparatus that you can collect the seawater. From the seawater, we can filter it out and be able to use sequencing technology to see who is living in that sample. So it is an extrapolation of who is living on the ocean. So we collect seawater from the surface, from the oxygen minimum zone, that's a part in the ocean where oxygen is depleted because of elevated productivity. And then we collect the third sample from just above the sea floor. So understanding the strata of temperature, depth, oxygen, and all the other physical, chemical properties, how they impact microbial communities, and how these microbial communities are able to withstand some of the nutrient strata as well in the ocean. So understanding who lives in the ocean, what they're doing, and how they're providing services to the ocean gives us an outlook on what could be the effect on the microbial community with increasing climate change, as well as understanding the functions they provide. So we look at nutrient cycles that the bacteria, archaea, viruses are involved in, and that also opens up opportunities for us to look at the biomolecules that they can provide for the humankind. So it's a huge study. It's been over 4 years now, and I've been so excited being a young scientist as well as a Black woman in this space. The representation is amazing. Being able to, also talk to other youth, for them to see that there's a scientist that looks like me, because we have to think about that. It's one of the most important things, and being selected as an ocean ambassador was the cherry on top, because I speak for a living as a scientist. It's very important for me to also use the societal and political landscape in order to talk about the science, but as well as connecting communities for them to understand that they are connected to the ocean. So the work that I do in essence is communicating about the ocean and bringing people to it, for them to understand the value that they have in the ocean and how it works.
And you said it earlier to me before we went live, and you said that we must thank the ocean for every second breath that we take. And this is what I really enjoy hanging out with you, right? Not only to discuss fashion, right, and what's happening in the world, which we also discuss, but we also your ability to explain why we need to care about the ocean. We, as in me being a citizen, I live by the sea now, I grew up by the sea, but my level of knowledge in ocean literacy is pretty poor. And now the fact that we're living in a world where the next 10 years are crucial to save our planet from ultimate climate damage, the European Commission has looked to the youth, and you are one of about 20 Ocean Youth Ambassadors that are on that global stage. How important is social media as part of your job as a science communicator and as an influencer?
Okay, so we usually think that social media is geared for the youth, but in essence, it's geared for the community. Everybody is on social media right now, every age, every background, every citizen. So it's important for you to, when you think about public engagement, do not, discourage yourself from joining social media. With our campaign, social media has been a catapult for our voices because we are 23 young scientists from 13 countries. So we are a little UN. We call ourselves a little UN, and we can't connect with each other physically. And more importantly, with the pandemic now, we really use social media to drive our campaigns. So as the youth ambassadors, we have 3 pillars in our campaigns. We have acting on human impacts, which is a group within the ambassador program that is looking at how we can harness tourism and produce services. For instance, if you are creating blue tourism, how do we get people to take choices for ecotourism, enable businesses to be engaged with ocean conservation, how they market their tourists, and how they upkeep the ocean and everything that they do in terms of sustainable fishing, using resources next to them. We have another set of amazing ambassadors that are working on teaching. So they're teaching through ocean literacy to reach communities by making platforms that they can enjoy, pamphlets, reaching them with services they can have access to through radio, newspapers, educating them about the ocean, everything scientific as well as everything societal. And I'm part of the group where we are really engaging, connecting the ocean to the people through indigenous knowledge systems. We are using cultural methods like storytelling, folklore, as well as arts and craft, food, festivals, as theater to reach our communities. Through storytelling, we can use this method because it's a method that is indigenous to every culture, by reaching them with stories that they understand about mermaids, for instance, and knowing that we all come from the ocean. We do have a connection to the ocean. Everybody has a story linked to the ocean, whether it be traumatic and how the slave trade was come about, or it could be, an amazing, wonderful story about how you enjoyed the ocean with your family, and you have a tradition that you go to the ocean every first of the new year for you to, drench in that new energy, using the ocean as a source of prosperity. So it's very important for us to, as the youth, to reach our community, and social media has been an amazing platform because we also use social media campaigns. So we're upcoming World Ocean Day. We have in a campaign that we are trying to reach people on social media because of the pandemic. We have to do everything on social media now.
And you know what I kind of love? I love the nod to the youth from the European Commission, and we know how influential it is, but also the recognition that the shared ocean and the one ocean that keeps us all alive, that the role of digital communications and connecting us as one people and as one population. So because social media gets a bad rap, right? And we know that there are negative sides to it, but social media for good is what I care about. And you guys are an example of how it can be done. But Sandra, how can you not just spread the message to citizens, but I think you need to spread the message to your science community? How can you bring more of them on board?
Okay, so social media has been a platform that is increasingly being beneficial to scientists. I'd say particularly now with the pandemic, we have epidemiologists who are coming onto Twitter who were not on Twitter before. They see that they have a social responsibility to tell people that this is not true. This medication will not save you. Wear your masks. So little initiatives like that coming from a pandemic, it's cementing the influence that scientists can have. We are used to being behind a desk or being on the bench working on our science and disseminating our information in traditional platforms like writing a journal article or maybe doing one TV interview. Now we are harnessing social media platforms because also I believe that social media platforms are enough that we have now and enough for everybody. So if you're an introvert, you do not want to be in front of camera like myself, you can type with your fingers, You have amazing fingers, use them. And I'm on Twitter most of the time because I love how rapid it is, how you have trending topics you can churn on and talk to people that are like-minded as yourself. But also there are communities on social media. For instance, for SciComm, for science communication, there is hashtag SciComm Twitter. So if you put that hashtag, every person who follows that hashtag can see your message. So also hashtag ocean climate, hashtag ocean climate action, hashtag youth ocean climate action. Those platforms also are growing because these are the hashtags that are driving the message, as well as, I like to credit Greta Thunberg and the other youth that have been driving, climate action hugely on social media. And using that hashtag as well, hashtag Fridays for Future, gives you a platform to reach out to like-minded activists. And I see now that more ocean activists are online. We have also a Twitter account, a Facebook account, Instagram account under All Atlantic Youth. And that has been amazing. We have DMs from young people and old people who are telling us, how can I do on an everyday basis? How can I engage with my politicians in my local areas? How can I start an organization? So this is a movement in essence. We are driving a movement for people who are engaged, people who care about the ocean, people who see themselves in the ocean, and people who care about the future generations, for them to have the access to a natural environment that they want to preserve for their future. So it's really been life-changing, not making it a soapy story, but it's a ground-breaking area right now. Everybody's on social media because we're socially distancing. So if you have a voice and you have a passion for something, reach out because there is somebody else who has the same voice as you.
And what is your own career goals? And I know we talk about this a lot, and I'm always kind of mentoring you and coaching you and pushing you forward because I see the talent in you. What's your own career goals? And do you think that, social media and the internet can help you pursue them?
True. Okay. So, going back, I'm a Black child from South Africa. I've lived in a landlocked area. So seeing the ocean for me, I saw the ocean for the first time. I was 10 years old and I was in a church choir. So we went to another church service in Durban, which is in the Indian Ocean. I saw the ocean for the very first time. And I just remember, wow, how can I get myself here? Not knowing that, 20 years later, I would be being the person who's driving for ocean protection.
Standing on the stage in the European Commission in Brussels, presenting to 700 of the most influential marine scientists, policymakers, and politicians in the whole of the continent. That's where you were.
Yeah. That's a tearjerker right there, because I'm telling you that, everything is possible and it is not through my own doing. I've had people who see my talent. What is important is having mentors that also see something in you. Same as you, Joanne. You always say, get into politics. You have to sit in those tables because your voice is so amplifying. You are a representation member. And I don't see that in myself, but I'm telling you that where I am now is because other people saw it in me. And it's not that you're not capable. Sometimes you do need the community. That's why it's important for us as a world community to join together through this pandemic, because we can come out of it stronger. We know so much more knowledgeable. So with social media, that has made it so much accessible. It has made things accessible. People that you would meet at a conference before, you can find them on social media. I have, people like Martin Vespak, who is an amazing person who sits on UN boards, people that we did not have access to. He retweets our tweets. I mean, silly tweets as well. We'll be talking about dancing for the ocean, and he's seeing the passion, and he's really passionate about what we do because he sees himself in us. So the youth voice is invigorating. I always say that, we bring energy, we bring energy to the room. And even at the European Commission, that standing ovation is because they have never seen something like this before. And now they're very much passionate to engage youth, because we, as the European Commission, I said it, we are not just youth leaders, we are current leaders. We are not future leaders, because we have a responsibility and we appreciate that responsibility. So with social media, it has really, I mean, I've done things on social media that I never, for instance, I was on a Twitter chat invited to curate my science. So those are opportunities that I've been able to harness my science communication. And in terms of my career, I want it all. I always say I want a research lab. I want to sit in boards. I want to be able to inform policies. I want to be able to communicate my science and mentor young girls and young boys who don't think that the ocean is for them. And particularly with oceanography and these fields, we don't think about them unless if you're in university. In South Africa right now, they don't teach marine sciences in schools. It's part of the rivers and the geography. You're talking about the mouth of the river, and we talk about the ocean, I think, for 2 lessons of there are whales or killer whales in the ocean. But in terms of what the ocean provides, as well as governments have parts in the ocean as well. There's so much happening on the ocean that can be mined. I know those things from reading about them. So what is important is for us, this has to be a transformation in terms of information. Politically, we have to come together, because also policies policies and statements such as the Galway and Balam statements, they are really driving cooperation between countries that have oceans close to them. And we are more engaged now with the South Atlantic, but I would like this being a one ocean, one voice interactive, where we can value, because the ocean is blue. When you look out of space through the NASA, it's a blue marble. So why are we not taking care of the ocean? We only know 5%, less than 5% of the ocean, and we have mapped 95% of Mars. We have to get our priorities straight. And I gained this information on social media. I didn't know that NASA was sending people out yesterday. And we don't hear that people are being sent out to the ocean to drill it. So I think that there has to be communication, and we have to also, accountability is very important, because we always say things are important, but we need the voices to drive this movement.
Sandra, you're such an inspiration. I love listening to you, and you make me feel that I need to take more responsibility for ocean and ocean literacy, and pass it on to my children too. This interview is airing on World's Ocean Day, and what no better way to kind of congratulate the youth ambassadors, all the agencies that have supported you. You guys have brought the Galway and Balam statements, as you say, to life, and you really are disrupting and transforming what science and ocean science communications needs to be. I just want to congratulate you, and I want you to achieve everything that you want to do. I know that you will, and what you've done already, you've already opened the door and made the path for the children coming behind you, right? You know that. You know you're a role model now. One last question. How are you managing during COVID? I ask all my interviewees now during lockdown, how are they managing their well-being? So how are you getting on?
Well, I've gained weight. All the banana bread, I mean, in the world. It's, I think the thing, what I love to give credit to humankind is that we can see gratefulness in moments that of despair. We've had moments of joy here and there. We've been able to laugh now and then. And I reach out to people who have been, struggling mentally, because I am living with depression. But this time I just took it upon myself to really take this moment to look on the progress that I have made and look forward. There have been moments, ups and down moments. We all have up and down moments when you try so desperately not to look at the news so that you can just hold on to a little bit of chocolate peace. I've been trying to work. We've all been trying to work. We all have Zoom burnout now. Every time when you see Zoom, I remember telling my friends that, Zoom is just a nightmare now. We are every time on Zoom, and you just, but also it has given us a purpose to put on a bit of makeup, a little bit of lip gloss. It gives us a purpose to wake up in the morning, to brush our teeth. So I think we've all been, at the beginning, we were all not in a good space. We were trying to get as much as we can. Particularly in South Africa, we have a level system. So we started off on level 5, which meant you can only go out for food. And South Africa is a very social country. We dance in the streets. We have our fun. We have our alcohol. And so alcohol being banned was such a hard thing for a lot of people, not being able to go out and sit outside in the beach. And we've had also strikes. I remember surfers were striking because they just missed the ocean so much. So I was like, I believe you. I do. We all just want to be outside. So we're going into level 3 on the 1st of June. So it will mean that more industries will be opening up, as well as, schools will be opening up. Alcohol will be on sale, yay. But cigarettes are still banned. But what I have also learned from this moment is that scientists need to be the forefront of information. But also scientists should take up society-driven courses. We need scientists with humanity skills as well. We don't acknowledge this enough, but being a scientist is not enough in this society. Being a politician is not enough. We need teams that are diverse, that can provide scientific information, but also societal, economic, as well as political input. So that has been really something that I think we establish. We need our, ministers in health to have degrees in health. We need our politicians to have taken a course on what is a virus, because the misinformation as well has been heartbreaking. We have, in South Africa, we're one of the poorest countries. We have only, we had only a 29% of employment rate. So a lot of youth members are sitting at home. We have people who really rely on working with their hands, who haven't been able to really be part of the economic world. And it's been heartbreaking for many. People are getting retrenched. So really, we have to be grateful going on forward. We have to also take part in our community missions, the same way we've been as science communicators and ocean activists, we've been having a hard time getting our community to be engaged. What is important is for people also to know who their politicians are, local government, to be able to lend a hand to families who do not have help during this time. I think as we have to learn that we are in this together, and that no country is better than the other. If one country is locked out, there's no way of traveling to another country. So we have to really be part of humanity, as we say we are. And I'm really glad that this moment kind of happened somehow, because we learned to pause. and to recognize our value in society. So moving forward, I hope this ends soon so that I can see you again, Joanne.
Yes.
Oh, I want to see you again. I want to meet with my ambassadors. We have so much going on that now everything is online. I mean, we kind of like it, but there is power in numbers, really power in numbers, and we need to be seen and being out there doing the work. And I do credit the EU as well as Anchor and our governments. They do check in on us. They always check in and how are you doing? They've been providing a lot of support during this time for us not to feel dismayed and discouraged because we're not going outside, touching hands, kissing babies. And that has been really encouraging because, seeing world leaders taking us into their helm, seeing us as an important part of their missions has been encouraging. Also, because we have another youth forum coming up where they select new ambassadors. They were supposed to be hosted in South Africa. I hope it still is because I have dresses I haven't worn in months. And so we just really it's becoming a movement. And the next cohort and the one next after that, we are looking also as ambassadors looking to empower them with the skills that we have gotten. So it's really been encouraging as much as it's been discouraging.
Sandra, it's been an absolute pleasure once again. Next time we speak, I hope it will be in person, but of course we'll keep in touch on Twitter. That's our favorite platform to have conversations about what's happening in the world. Well done on everything you've achieved so far. This is the beginning, right? And I know that this interview on YouTube, lots of people will watch it now, but they will watch it back in years to come, wherever we will see Sandra Foma, and they'll say, oh, and look at this interview that she did with Joanne. This was very interesting. So I think this is a nice capturing a moment in history and in time for you, for me, but the important message right now is that we need more scientists to embrace the world of digital, to halt the spread of misinformation, and to understand that their influence is not just scientific, it's human, as you say. So have a great day, stay safe, and I will see you soon.
Thank you so much, Joanne.